This Racing and Sports Spring Chat is brought to you by Tab Touch. This Spring Racing Carnival, get the inside edge with Tab Touch. Don't just watch the action, own it with the Tab Touch app.
Hello and welcome to the first edition of Racing and Sports Spring Chat, where we'll be looking to bring to you all the news, barrier draw info, trackwork stars, and most importantly winners as we get stuck into racing's biggest month of the year. We're here at Caulfield, where we've seen some big names go around at trackwork this morning. We've had the barrier draw for Saturday's feature, the $3 million Caulfield Guineas. But I think it's fair to say the main news item of the day was a trial up in Sydney. Ka Ying Rising, the Hong Kong superstar. We got our first look at him, and it's fair to say his trial has divided opinion. He ran third. The trial was won by linebacker Overpass, who's an Everest rival. He beat him home. They had a big gap on the rest, but there was still a lot of talk about whether that was the perfect hit out ahead of the Everest on the 18th of October. Trent Crebbin, what did you make of it?
Yeah, it looks like when he jumped in and kind of sat outside the lead, I thought that he was maybe going to go past Overpass, who was given a bit of a ride. Ka Ying Rising never really let off the bridle, but then linebacker gets up the inside and beats them both. I thought it was just a pass mark maybe, and with the Everest not that far away, I think a few people would have wanted to see a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say, and I think even the jockey, Zach Purton, he wanted to see a little bit more. His words after the trial were pass mark needs to improve. So he's got 11 days before he gets all that in order. What about the rest of them? The Chris Waller team, they did what they normally do. They were out the back just rounding off their preparations.
Yeah, that's it. They've already had their runs under the belt. This was just a bit of a turn up for them. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. I think they did what they needed to do. Overpass was probably the one that was given the solidest hit out, again going into the Everest fresh as well. So, yeah, a bit of work to do for Ka Ying Rising, but on the ratings and the form, he's still going to be the dominant favourite.
He is going to be the dominant favourite, and Mr. Brightside and Fangirl also went around in that trial. What I want to do though, I want to be backing linebacker in the Silver Eagle off that. That's a pretty good hit out ahead of his next outing. So that was the main item up there in Sydney. Everest, that's on Saturday week. This Saturday here at Caulfield, 3 Group 1s headlined by the Guineas. We've had the barrier draw, and Trent, you are an autumn boy man, and I was standing next to you when he came out with barrier 1. Normally, you'd be excited with that, but you gave a little wince. You didn't like it.
Yeah, it's kind of all or nothing barrier 1, isn't it? Either gets the luck and can win this comfortably, or he gets held up. But it'll be interesting. A lot of the main dangers drawn wide. You've got Woderton drawn 10, Vinrock out wide as well. I think he needs to hold his spot, Autumn Boy. He doesn't want to be further back than maybe 3 pairs back the fence if that's the case. If you can hold leaders back even potentially up to a mile, that'd be perfect. But yeah, I think the 1400 metres in the Golden Rose, I think he was just outsped. I think getting to a mile is really going to be the big improver, and this has been his grand final all along, and I think he can get the job done. Yeah,
west of Swindon, also a double-digit gate, and so too Nepotism. He was favourite for this race coming into spring, but hasn't been all that impressive in the runs we've seen to date, so he's out the gate from a betting point of view. The one that I reckon comes right into it, who I wasn't really considering a factor before the draw, Navy Pilot. He's come up with barrier 2. I think that gives him every chance.
Yeah, I thought that win at Sandown in the Guineas prelude was pretty good, to be honest. I think the first up run at Flemington as well was solid and getting home well. So, like him getting to a mile as well, if he can get that nice little trailing run, I think he's right in the game. Yeah,
Chris Waller, he brought both Autumn Boy and Woden here today. They had a look at the Caulfield track. Neither of them have won this year, but this preparation. But one of them is going to start favourite. We're not too sure. Maybe Autumn Boy after the draw. So it's going to be interesting to see how this race plays out. We're set up for a fascinating Guineas.
They're both fit horses. They've had a trip from Flemington, and they're going to get a trip home. So we don't ask them to do as much, but I was happy with what I saw, and riders were happy.
We're also going to have a look back at last week's action, because Trent, you wrote a really interesting article. Every Monday goes up on Racing and Sports. It's a ratings look at what happened the week before. It's called Talking Points, and you had plenty to talk about on the weekend just gone. What were your main takeaways in Talking Points this week?
Yeah, well, I think the Turnbull Stakes is probably, they call it moving day, and that was probably the moving race. You get to see the Cox Plate, the Caulfield Cup and the Melbourne Cup horses. Sir Delius, impressive again. I thought it was a very similar performance to what he faced in the Underwood, where they didn't go all that hard. Got headed in the race. In the Underwood it was Buckaroo, this time it was Antino who took the front, but then he's just kicked back and just thrown that strength late. He's run to 124 on the Racing and Sports scale. That's up from his 123 in the Underwood Stakes, and a new peak for him. Matches what Via Sistina did in the Turnbull Stakes last year. Now goes to the Cox Plate, where the pressure's only going to be on further. But I just think what he's doing now is just a bonus for a horse that's going to really appreciate getting to 2 miles at Flemington. yeah, I think he's the clear horse to beat in the Melbourne Cup.
Borderline moral in the Melbourne Cup for me, but I don't know whether I want to be with him on Cox Plate Day because I just want to see a run like Green Moon, Efficient, Fiorente, Very Elegant, these horses that having that second run at 2,000 metres and are looking for further. That's what I'm looking for him. I'll probably be looking around him on Cox Plate Day. Via Sistina, can she go back to back?
I think she can. She's been through 3 slowly run races now. The Maccabi Diva was horribly slow, running a time figure in the 50s. And then last start again, a little bit quicker. Looks like she's needing a proper test or even maybe a little bit further. But yeah, I think she can improve into a faster race in the Cox Plate. She needs to because she needs to get back to something like her best. But if Sir Delius is suddenly starting favourite in a Cox Plate against her, well then maybe Via Sistina comes back into play from a betting perspective. Yeah,
I agree with that. I'm not writing her off. I think she can go back to back, but keen to see the barrier draw, the makeup of the field, and how many laps she does at trackwork on the Tuesday morning before the race.
Yeah, really happy with him. He's come here for a nice day out. He's moving well, and Mark was very pleased with him, so ready to kick off Saturday. I think he'll just run well. I think he should just get into a nice running line. Looks like there'll be nice speed with Tropicus and Arabian Summer. You could probably anticipate he'll be midfield somewhere thereabouts, and he should be running on hard.
And Racing and Sports Spring Chat is being brought to you by Tab Touch. And just on the markets around the Cox Plate, Via Sistina, while the jury's out after that run the other day, she's still the $2.90 favourite. Sir Dealey is pressing hard at $3.10 though. And looking ahead to the Everest, $1.50 he was carrying rising before that trial up at Ramwick, and he just maintains that quote. But it's going to be really interesting to see what price he does maintain, because he's going to be a lot shorter on the totes, but you can still get $1.50 fixed. Of more immediate concern for us is trying to find a winner on Wednesday. Sale is the main meeting here in Victoria. Trent, you've done the form for that meeting. What do you got for us?
Yeah, we're going to the last race 8, number 8, perfect picture of mare for Graham Begg. She's going well with this preparation without winning. I liked the first up run at Sandown and then went to Seymour, had no luck, got shuffled back and hit the line late. That was the same story again last time. Just got way too far out of her ground, held up and flashed late behind an impressive winner. The time rating was strong there, the figures are strong, the sectionals are good. I think this race is easier than what she's been facing this time in. Comes back slightly in trip, but I like the middle to wide draw for her with the big sail track just blending in down the outside. And if she runs to what she's been doing this preparation and just gets a little bit of luck, I think she can be breaking through. So she's $2.50 with Tab Touch at the moment.
Oh, that's a nice track. Every horse normally gets their chance there. Jake Altieri, he's our man for Perth. That is Tab Touch territory, and he's got the Wednesday winners there.
Racing in the West heads to Northam on Wednesday. We're going to make Fast Harry in the last hour best bet of the day. That's race 7, number 4, Fast Harry. Progressive type on resumption for Team Williams. In his 2 runs last campaign, he not only produced very strong RAS ratings, but he ran really good splits in the process as well. Drawn a little bit wide, but I think there's some good speed in gauge, and I think 1,300 metres is just perfect for him first up. Pike will be able to build into the race nicely on the turn, as we love to see him do over here in the east, and no doubt he can hopefully be very Fast Harry and get over the top to get the job done, and that is Fast Harry. Race 7 and number 4, our best bet of the day at Northam. Build a same race, multi and access competitive odds, as Tab Touch gives you the odds to go bigger. Download the Tab Touch app today.
There's hopefully a couple of Wednesday winners for us, building a bank for what is one of the great days of the racing year here, Caulfield Guineas Day. We'll be back here again at Caulfield next week, gearing up for the Caulfield Cup and also the Everest.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call 1-800-858-858 or visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.